This is Weekly Woman by Jubilance for PMS. Well, I just want to welcome you to the podcast. Thank you so much for being on.
You're welcome. Anytime. Anytime.
Amazing. Now, can you tell us where you're calling in from?
Okay. I'm calling from Lagos, Nigeria. Lagos, Nigeria. Ooh.
Amazing. That's so cool. What's your
Yeah.
favorite part about Nigeria?
I like the fact that I just like our youths. I like Nigerian youths. We are energetic, we are consistent, we are enterprising. And again, I like the food. Like the food, we have varieties of food, like we have a whole lot. Like you will hear us with the old Nigeria jollof, trying to argue with Ghana jollof. As in, I don't know if you had a taste of that.
Yes,
If you have not,
jollof is so
I guess
good.
with a Nigerian to give you some jollof. Then I met someone some days ago, and he was talking about our pepper soup. Oh no, that is heaven on earth. It's like pepper soup is amazing. So you should try to get pepper soup one of these days if you have not. Yeah.
Okay, I will definitely try some pepper soup. That
No
sounds
problem.
so good. Amazing. And what is your favorite thing to do outside of work?
Okay, I enjoy baking. I enjoy cooking. I enjoy writing. I do a whole lot of freelance writing sometimes.
Huh.
Then COVID period helped me with YouTube. I started watching a whole lot of YouTube videos during COVID, and I did more of food pages that had food, different kind of foodstuffs. I tried them at home, baking, any channel that has to do with baking, cooking. Then I love to sing. So, but I don't have a good voice. I only have a good voice in the bedroom. So you would always hear me do that. Yeah. So if I'm not out there volunteering or doing something for the girl child or advocating for something, I would always be at home, either watching cooking food channels,
Mhm.
either singing or bonding with my family. Basically, that's what I will be doing.
Oh, that's nice. And you kind of mentioned a
Yeah.
little bit that you're volunteering. Can you talk about being a Youth Alliance ambassador for your country?
Wow, I'll say that's a lot. Like because at first I didn't see it coming. You know, the point where you're into the work. And at some point I felt whatever it was I was doing, people were not seeing it. I wasn't getting the visibility. But you know the thing about you not doing things because of people, you doing it because you want to make a change, you want to be a global impact and all. And about the passion, yeah, it was also the passion that was keeping me awake. So having to wake up one morning and getting this phone call that whatever it is you're doing is being recognized, and Lagos State has recognized you as one of the people that are doing this. And oh yeah, wow, that was great. But I actually thought it was just something ceremonial. I didn't know it came with more and more work. You know, that point where you don't need to you don't want to let people down, and you keep walking. You just know that people are there looking at you, people are looking up to you. Then when people like the advocacy I do that has to do with girl child period poverty, so when girls now even realize that there's one lady up there that is doing all of this, then your phone starts to buzz morning, afternoon, night. I need this, I need this, I want you to do this. So at first I thought it was coming with the old serene, like, oh, but it came with a whole lot of work, more and more and more. And to be honest, I would say it has helped me because it has helped me plan myself better. It has helped me with more consistency. And then there are some times that I would always want to just let go of the whole thing. Like probably sometimes I just like, I'm tired. Why am I even doing this thing? And sometimes even the people you're trying to reach out to, they even get you frustrated. But now I just know that I can't stop because I just cannot stop right now. Like really. So I'll say being a Lagos State Youth Ambassador, SDG Youth Ambassador has really, really, it has helped me. Yeah, even if at first I thought it was something ceremonial, but now I know that I need to walk and walk and walk and walk. I need to keep digging. I need to keep solving more problems, and together the world will become a better place.
Oh, that's wonderful. And can you tell our listeners kind of like what you're up to? So you started Royal Gem Initiative. What is that? And what are you doing with
Yeah.
period poverty?
Okay, so Royal Gem Initiative is a non-governmental organization and it's centered on SDG, Sustainable Development Goal 3, good health and well-being, and 4, good education, especially amongst adolescents. Yeah, so but recently, our focus has been more on the girl child in the area of menstrual health and education. Now, most times, or I will not want to wait for you to ask me how, what inspired whatever it is I do. But
Yeah.
growing up as a very young girl, I used to have irregular menstrual cycle. And the only thing I had in my head back then was once you don't see your period, you're pregnant. So for
Huh.
every month I don't get to see my period, I would cry and cry and cry and feel like I am pregnant. Even if I know I didn't do anything, I wasn't having sex, I wasn't, but I would keep crying. Then sometimes I'll even be asking myself, when did I become the new Mary? Because I knew it was only Mary in the Bible that got pregnant without sexual intercourse. So then the next month I see the period again and I'm like, God, thank you for answering my prayers. I'm really grateful. And then the next month again, I don't see it again. And I'm like, am I pregnant again? Then at some point I started living in depression. Like I wasn't understanding what was wrong with me. I felt I was different from other girls. I felt at some point I felt I was possessed. Like, and I know that you need to menstruate to become a mother. So many things kept running through my mind. I was scared to talk to my mom. Not like my mom is not approachable, but I know my mom to be this person. She's going to sit me down and give me 5 hours lecture. I wasn't ready for that. So I was always scared. Like I didn't want to disappoint my mom. She was doing a whole lot for me, education wise, survival, family. So adding this to the list of the things so she'll be like, are you now pregnant? So I lived with that for years. So I went to high school, that's university here. And I went to the university. And when I got to university, I studied a health related course because I felt in school they were going to discuss menstruation extensively. But getting to school as a physiotherapist, we didn't even have to do anything menstruation. So I became more confused and frustrated. I wasn't seeing my period regularly, and I wasn't even allowing boys touch me. So if back then in my class, when boys touch me, I would always fret out, like, don't get me pregnant. I'm still trying to struggle with whatever is wrong. Don't add to what is wrong with me. And then
Mhm.
I went into a relationship at some point with this medical guy, thinking he was going to solve my problem and give me, but I discovered that it only became a very abusive relationship because it started taking advantage of the fact that I had little knowledge about these things. At some point, it started complaining about my weight. I was overweight and I was just weighing just 54 kg then. So I started struggling with depression, started struggling with low self-esteem. I started having anorexia. I started
Oh.
starving myself intentionally because I wanted to lose weight so that I would be the perfect girlfriend for him. So my academics was becoming really, really bad. I was struggling in class. My grades were dropping. Then it was one day I just said to myself, you can't keep suffering this way. And you can't be the only girl going through this. You need to open up. You need to speak up. And that day I got home and I spoke to my mom and discovered that the only thing that I needed was so they ran some tests on me. The doctor said it is totally fine. I am normal. Irregular menstrual cycle is normal for people of my age. And I started crying that so I had to, and I started crying that so I had to go through all of that for this little information that if I'd gotten would have saved me all of that stress. And so I just felt that I can't be the only one going through this because we're in the part of the world, Africa, where women keep quiet about anything that has to do with their sexual and reproductive health. The old taboos, there are a lot of taboos, there are a lot of things flying around, and women are always scared to talk. And most times, you just see women dying prematurely from things that if they had spoken up about, it would have saved them a whole lot. So I felt that there will be girls out there that are going through this as well. So I decided to start the whole advocacy for girls, for teenagers, for adolescents. See, come out here. You need to talk. I know that there are a whole lot of things going on in your mind. I know you have a lot going on inside you, but you can't talk because you're scared. Don't worry, I'm here. You can talk to me. I've been there. I have medals for these, I have awards for these, I have this. So just that. So most times when I talk to girls and I'm smiling, I'm like, don't worry, I've been there. They're like, really? Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, give it to me. Then when they're talking about something and you're also flowing, you're telling them the next thing they will experience. They're like, wow, so you've been there, you understand better. And
Oh my gosh, you went through so much. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that with your menstrual cycle, but that's amazing that you can give that information to other women, because we need it. It's something, it's
Mhm.
still taboo. It's taboo here in the United States. People just don't talk about menstrual cycles. So that's amazing, that Royal Gym initiative, and you can open up the conversation for women. Yeah, I just wanted to say, like, thank you so much for telling that story. That's incredible. I'm so sorry you had to go through all of that and your anorexia. I'm so sorry about that. But it's amazing that you're able to give women and girls the knowledge about menstrual cycles, because they really need that. And
Yeah,
like you said, it could have like saved you so much trouble. Um, and so you kind of
yeah,
touched on this, about how women see the menstrual cycle in Africa. Can you talk a little bit more about that, and specifically Nigeria, how women talk
yeah.
about their bodies?
Truth be told, people's willingness to talk about menstruation, reproductive health issues, sexual health issues, body anatomy, especially in Nigeria, is very poor. Like, they see those things as things that should be discussed in private. And when I even mean private, I don't mean private even in the four walls of their house. I mean private, like they feel you should just discuss it with your pillow. Like, it should just be between you and God. Like, don't talk to anybody. Like, it is sacred. Like, you don't need to speak about these things. It is really, really, so like, there's so many taboos and rules and laws surrounding it that most times people, young girls, are even scared to tell you they are menstruating. So imagine you asking a group of girls, please, how many people are menstruating here? Are you the menstruators here? You know this person is menstruating, but they can't even talk because they are ashamed of being menstruators. They can't talk because they are scared that people will look at them like, oh, you're menstruating. You really, are you fine? You're not, you're dirty. Like, so there's this attachment to being unpure, like, not like, so many things attached to it, especially in this part of the world. So people do not talk about it a lot. Even when you want to help them and you bring up this discussion, you see most parents even taking their children away from the discussion. They feel you want to corrupt the children. They feel, so they just, and you know the funny thing, especially when it has to even do with anything that has to do with sexual education. You see parents, teachers telling you, please, is enough, don't talk about it again. But the next day you see girls with teenage pregnancy. Then you wonder, how did they get pregnant? And you wonder, was this not the person that the mom said, no, don't talk to her about sex, she's still young? And the next thing you see happen, and then I'm wondering, how did she get pregnant? Like, really, what happened? Did it fight? Because we all know pregnancy is not transferable or communicable. Something had to happen before you got pregnant. So then you wonder. So then most times these girls don't even have enough knowledge. So they have this knowledge that if a boy touches them, they get pregnant. Then over time, boys keep touching and touching and touching and touching, and no pregnancy. Then the boys start taking them for granted. In short, funny enough, we had an outreach some days ago, and a girl came out to talk about menstrual cramp. And she was like, someone told her that the solution to menstrual cramp was regular sex, frequent sex. And she was like, amazingly, it worked. And I was like, it worked? How did you know it worked? And she said, because for some days or for some months now, she discovered that her period is not coming. We had to run a test on her to find out that she was pregnant. She didn't even know she was pregnant. So to
Wow.
her, she felt that the regular sex was the solution to the menstrual cramps she was having, not even knowing that. So the lack of information she had kept her into all of that.
Mm.
So that poor wrong information she had. So if she had gotten a very good info, or she had gotten the right information prior to that, she will know that sex has nothing to do with menstrual cramp. She will know that there are other ways to deal with these things. But you know, the fact that they don't get to speak up, even when they want to talk to their parents or their moms about these things, they shy away from it and they run away. They don't talk to them. So they go outside, they ask opposite sex, and those ones want to take advantage of them, and they give them wrong information just to suit whatever it is they want to do.
Wow.
So
Oh, that's
knowledge about
terrible.
sexual education here, I would say it's kind of poor, really poor. And that's why we keep advocating That's
Wow.
amazing. That's why we keep going out of our way to talk about girls and women. Recently, we saw that we can't do these things for girls without their mom. How much information do the mothers even have? The mothers don't even have a whole lot of information. So what information do you want to give? You can't give from an empty bottle. You can't pour from something that's empty. So if you don't have anything, what do you want to give your children? So your children come to you that, mom, this and this and this, and you're looking, I think it's not for this age, just wait. And you know, the thing about it is this generation is really different from the generations, previous ones. These ones are really learning very fast. The internet, the internet is really accessible to them. So they open or they check the internet and they see this wrong information and they pick everything hook, line, and sinker. They don't process it. So I would say for now, knowledge and response about sexual health, body anatomy, menstruation in this part of the world is still kind of poor. It's still kind of poor. Yes, people now know more about it, but they don't even have right knowledge, the right information about it. So we're doing our part.
Wow.
We'll keep working.
That's amazing. I didn't know any of that, and just like how inaccessible knowledge about menstruation is. It's amazing what you're able to do then. So what are you doing exactly with Royal Gym Initiative? Are you going into schools? Are you talking to mothers, like you said? What are you guys up to get that knowledge out there?
Okay. So at first, we actually thought the problem was only period poverty. We actually thought the only period of poverty. So we started going from schools to schools, rural communities to distribute sanitary pads, free sanitary supplies, sanitary pads, underwears, and soaps for girls in undeserved communities and schools. We started with that. But over time, we discovered that we're just distributing. These girls don't even have the basic knowledge about what we are distributing. So they just see it as just sanitary pads. There's no even hygiene on it. So because we've given them sanitary pads and they cannot afford to buy it, they decide to make sanitary pad that should last for a month. They keep mising it so it can last them for as long as 3 months. Then over time, you start to hear about so many infections and blah, 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 blah. So we had to sit them down again and start the hygiene part of it, the hygiene practice. So if we're giving you sanitary pad for a month, please try and make sure you're using it for a month. If you need more, reach out to us, we'll get to you. Then over time, we discovered that it became more than even menstrual hygiene practice. We discovered that there was even the part of sex education, there was the part of self-esteem. So most of them have lost their self-esteem in the process of not having the right sanitary products or materials to use. So imagine someone using probably cotton wool, foam, cloth material, or rag coming to school and is always getting stained regularly. So she's already ashamed of herself. Friends are already abusing her from a family. They can't even afford to give you this. So she can't even stand up. So over time, it started affecting them academically. Most times they don't come to school when they're on their periods. Even when they come to school, they don't function well in school because while they're in class, they're thinking of how to get the next menstrual supply for the next month. They're thinking of how to go to the toilets to change what they feel is already stained. So they can't even, so over time, low self-esteem built in. Then over time, we discover that they don't even have adequate knowledge about their body. So imagine a girl, the only thing she knows about her body is just the breast and the bum. She doesn't even know that there's an ovary, there's a fallopian tube. She doesn't even know that there's a uterus. She doesn't even know the difference between the vagina and the vulva. She doesn't even know anything. So we discovered that it was way beyond period poverty. There was a part of the body anatomy, there was part of self-esteem, there was part of self-confidence, there was part of so many issues. Even so many of them have been sexually harassed because of these things. When they have to go and meet uncles or the opposite sex for money and those ones take advantage of them, or someone telling or a man advising a girl that you better get pregnant. Pregnancy will save you the stress of menstruation. And she sits down and think about it, and that's true. 9 months, not knowing that pregnancy on its own is huge. That's a whole lot. So they start to become mothers at early ages. They go into what they're not supposed to, and it becomes really frustrating. So Royal Jam is way beyond period poverty. Like we started with period poverty, but over time we discovered that the problem kept getting bigger. We started having more problems before us. Started having more, and we had to solve all of those problems. So the more problems we get before us, the more problems we solve. The more we go, the more problems we see, the more problems we solve. So whatever it is that has to do with women's sexual health and reproductive health, we always try our best to solve it in our
Wow.
own way.
That's amazing. Yeah, it sounds like you do have a lot to do. And like you said, with the Youth Alliance ambassador, it just
Yeah,
keeps going.
exactly. Yeah,
Incredible. And
yeah.
something that we always ask on this podcast is, what is your definition of womanhood?
Okay. To me, I know that so many people have their own definition of womanhood, but for me, being a woman is, I don't know how to explain it, but I've always over time I started saying this to myself. And being a woman means being unapologetic. Like, and the only way you can do that is, or the only way I can do that is by sharing my ideas, by pushing boundaries, by finding my own voice. And I can prove that, yes, I know gender is also part of our identity, but gender should not restrict me to cultural background and boundaries, sorry, of how a woman is supposed to be. Yeah, in this part of the world or in Nigeria, there are definitions for how a woman should be, how a woman should live, how a woman should even sleep, how a woman should dress. There's a whole lot. Like, it can be really overwhelming being a woman in this part of the world. But over time, I've come to discover that I should not allow that limit me. I should not allow that define me. I should not allow that even make me voiceless. We are unique. Women are unique. And that is the beauty of being a woman. Yes, it comes with its own baggage. It comes with its own ups and downs, but being a woman is really unique. And having all of these thoughts at the back of my mind has really helped me live past the expectations that people expect of women. So really, I won't say, because I want to live with the expectations that people have about being a woman, and I should be silenced. Now, if I didn't come up to do all of these things, or if I feel that because people believe now, like I explained something, we're in this part of the world where women see talking about these issues as it's not good to talk about it in public. So if I kept quiet, do you know the number of people that would have suffered? Do I know the number? Like, over time, I think I've reached out to over 100,000 girls, over 100,000. So now
Wow.
sometimes I sit and I think about all of this. So if I kept quiet, does that mean those 100,000 girls will have to suffer? Does that mean those 100,000 women or people, do you understand, would have to suffer? So I see being a woman as, yes, it can be overwhelming, overbearing, overtaxing, but I see being a woman as you being unapologetic about whatever it is you decide to do. You need to open up, you need to speak up, you need to have a voice. And everybody has been designed to have a voice. So you look for your own voice and speak up, let it be heard. Shout if you need to shout. You don't need to whisper. You don't need anybody's permission to speak. You need to speak up and let people know that, yes, you're a solution to problems that are on ground. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing, Dami. 100,000 women? That's incredible. That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do need to speak up and shout out. 100,000
You
women.
know, before I was usually scared that, oh wow, what I want to really venture into, how will people feel? Like, really, you, like, what do you want to talk about? What do you have to talk about? And funny enough, if you see me, I have this very small stature, so it's easy for people to push me back, like, you, what do you have to say? But I discovered that at first I was whispering. And people at the back were not listening. They were not hearing it. And most of the people I needed to reach out to were those at the back. They were not getting the message. They were not getting the information. But the moment I started shouting, the moment I started screaming, yeah, those that needed it started getting it. They started talking. Girls started opening up. Whatever it is that was wrong with them, people started speaking up. I have this problem. I have this health challenge. I have this issue. I need help. Nobody is above help. We all need help at some point in our lives. Nobody's an island. You need people's help to function. We all need people's cooperation. We need people around us to be stable. So I just thought about it. If you keep being voiceless, if you keep whispering, nobody will hear. And people that need your help will not get it. So, and since then I say something, as women, scream, let them hear you. Shout.
Amazing. Incredible. And where do you see Royal Gym Initiative going in the future?
I see Royal Gem Initiative as a global organization providing menstrual health solutions to young girls, to women in Africa. And internationally. I see Royal Gem in a very big place. I see Royal Gem really solving problems that has to do with sexual and reproductive health. In short, at some point, not even for women alone, even for men, because even men have issues, but because they've been built to be this strong and emotionless people, which is very false. They are more emotional, but because the society has built them or trained them to be strong and without emotions, but they have more issues. So I see Royal Gem as a global organization providing solutions to problems that has to do with reproductive and sexual health internationally. Like that's why I see Royal Gem.
Amazing, Tammy. And how can people find out, how can our listeners find out more about your organization and you?
Okay, so on we have we're on Instagram, and our handle on Instagram is Royal Gem Initiative. We're on Facebook. Our handle on Facebook is also Royal Gem Initiative. We have issues with our Twitter account because of what happened recently with Twitter. So we have issues with our Twitter. And then at the moment, we are working on our website where we intend to put more information, like a whole lot of information. So at the moment, that's what we're busy with right now. So we want to make it really interesting and packed for our viewers and for people that have been supporting us, because we really cannot deny the fact that we've gotten a whole lot of support from people. We've gotten massive support, massive feedback, as in people have been really amazing. Sometimes you just wonder, like, this just started with a little idea, with a little way people turn up and turn out for us has been so amazing. So we're working on our website for people so they can have better knowledge about what we do. So for now, everybody should just check us out on Instagram, on Facebook. Very soon we'll bring out the website.
Yay! Incredible. And thank you so much for being on the podcast today, Tammy. It was amazing to get to talk to you and hear like the incredible things that you're doing.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. I've been looking forward to this day. As in, I've been looking forward to this day, to meeting you, to seeing you, to speaking with you. I'm so happy. Oh,
yeah, I'm
thank you
so
for
happy we
having
could
me.
connect.
And thank you to your audience. You're doing a very amazing job. Very, very amazing. Then I know you work with some supplements. You do some supplement for menstrual, for PMS. You're doing really amazing. I hope to get one soon, very soon, when I'm getting one.
Yes. Amazing.